All right, we're getting started. Hold on. Right. Oh, crap. The music's not on. Why is that? Sorry about that. Almost there. Sorry about the lack of music, guys. All right, we're just going to get started. We're just going to do it. Hi, everybody. It's, man, is it Wednesday morning? Hi, how are you? That's my voice cracking from singing last night. I'm beginning to understand why Steven Tyler had to postpone the Peace Out tour for a month because his voice is screwy. Because, dear friends, there are a lot of Aerosmith songs with no solo and no break. Yeah. So sorry about the lack of music this morning. I'm exhausted. I drove all night. I've slept about an hour and a half. Philip can't be here today. We're moving him to Friday. He's got a scheduling conflict, so we're just going to do an hour this morning. I hope that's okay. And then I'm going to go back to sleep, so I actually have a voice for later to do the show. Yes, hair is down still from because I rolled in and went to yeah. I actually do have good dream on voice this morning because my throat is so worn out from last night that, it's kind of perfect for that. Every time when I look in the mirror, all these lines on my face getting clearer. The past is gone. Right? Thank you, Templeton. I will get some rest. We'll get through a few of these things, and I might just pull the plug if I'm wiped out, just so I can, speak later. Because woof. All right, couple of things right out of the gate, and I'm trying to find this store. Hold on one second. I'll see if I can find it in here. Right out of the gate, but there's some magically stupid shit coming from the impeachment inquiry yesterday. So if you yesterday, if like me, you took a break from a news day in some ways, and you got to kind of the announcement that they're going to do this impeachment inquiry, for the record, is a huge waste of time, is based on conjecture stacked on horseshit. I have covered 6 ways to Sunday how they could use everything on the alleged Hunter Biden laptop in their committee hearing, refer shit to the DOJ, and the DOJ would never bring it to the inside of a courtroom simply because fruit of the poison tree. That there is no metadata that sources any of the shit from that ridiculousness to Hunter Biden or anybody else. Nobody would admit to it. I mean, even if Tony Bobolinsky said, yeah, that's my email, it doesn't mean the responses are real. And it also doesn't mean he's a trustworthy witness. Like the amount of options where, like even in an evidentiary hearing, any of it would actually get to the inside of a courtroom, because like even if somebody's like, yeah, that's mine, and everybody Hunter Biden's lawyers respond by going, hey, that might be one real one, but half this shit's fake and half of it's real, and that's how they do it, and this, so none of it should be in, because we don't have to go through and pants ourselves in front of the world. Nobody should ever have to do that. It's a violation of our Fifth Amendment rights. It's a violation of it's just silly. There's no chain of evidence. It's a bunch of shit. And it would get thrown out. First year law student could get the entire laptop contents thrown out because there's no source. There's no chain of evidence. There's no metadata. 100 times over. We covered this, and there's still some asshats who cling to this nonsense. But everything, if they actually try to, if the committee actually uses the hard drive or any of the stuff from that Rudy bought in Ukraine from the Russians and brought back, and they started this whole fucking bullshit about the laptop. If he uses any of it, if they use any of it in that committee hearing and they reference other stuff that because of it, because of fruit of the poison tree in a real court of law, it all gets thrown out. I've talked, one of the FBI witnesses, and I think this is, let me bring this up. This is part of it. But then also like Scott Perry flipping out yesterday, which I would like to, they did a whole press conference yesterday and I haven't watched it, but I want to cover it because I want to cover it today specifically. But let me see if I can find it. Scott Perry kind of just like dicked out, because I don't want to use the clip, but I want to reference it. But anyways, the important thing is that yesterday, Scott Perry, who's one of the chairs of the Freedom Caucasians, he was responding to a reporter's question, and they said, it was like, how do you go to start this inquiry without any evidence? Do you have any actual evidence? And he was like, open your eyes, man, which is obviously, a desperate thing. Like, no, you don't get to say that. Is not an actual response. But he goes, one of his things was, you can't afford Biden's houses on a congressional and Senate pay. That's ridiculous. Was effectively his thing. So that was, okay, let me do this real quick. Thank you, Leslie. That's so sweet. Thank you for the M2 fund. Oh, appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I have to say, one of the dancers who performs with us at the Whiskey came up and insisted on contributing. She gave me $20 last night. And she insisted on contributing like a in-person super chat. She's like, this goes to the show. And it was so sweet. And I just thought it was lovely. And I don't know how to handle those things in public. And it's already a weird thing. And it's just, yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for that, Leslie. There is, I've got to look up a list of, let's see, senators by net worth, I think is what I'm looking for. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here are the, let me show you the allegation is that Joe Biden, who has a net worth of about $8 million, all told, including his homes, mostly from his homes. His homes are combined worth about $7 million. And this is after he bought he had one house. It cost him like $118 grand when he bought it in 1970 something. And then he fixed it up because it was like a big house, but it was in disrepair. He bought it, fixed it up, lived in it, sold it for like $2 million and bought a plot of land and built a house on that plot of land. And so it was like, raw land and construction fees for that house. And the net worth of that house, because of how real estate grows, is now worth like thank you, Amy Lynn, for sticking around on Twitch. One of the people who originally jumped ship. And by the way, let me to this, hi chat room. You guys are over here. Now, why is my green screen off? Who's been monkeying around? Has Chud been in here? What's happening? What happened? What's that? What's going on here? What are you doing? What's going on? That's much better. I don't know. I go away. Chip. So, standard, talk about Project 25. Okay. Give me a moment. Chip's not in here. Door's shut. But one of the things that Scott Perry pushed back on was he goes, there's no way you can afford those kind of houses on a congressional and on a congressman and then a senator's pay. Okay, first of all, lots of rich congressmen already. So let's just start there. The problem they have is they're like, this guy's never been in business outside of government. So how did he get out of the? Okay, secondly, he has been. After he left, most of, by the way, the other property they bought was with money he made from his book and from his speaking fees. And because as a vice president and as a former vice president, he really didn't have any house payments. He didn't, oh yeah, I forgot my green screen. I got to fix that. I'll do it later. I don't have the, I can't, I'm too tired to start tweaking green screen. I'll fix the glow, but for now, just assume that I'm radioactive. I have an aura. So, and this looks like shit too. I'm very disappointed in the quality of the stream today. It's not your fault. It's mine. So I found that fascinating. It was like, you can't afford that on being a, like, nobody has that kind of money and is a fucking House member or Senate member. Okay. Let's just understand that Joe Biden, before he was a vice president, was a senator. And then as vice president, basically had no home bills. His house is paid off. His Corvette is listed in his net worth at like, over $100,000. But he's the only owner. He's had it since 1967. Like, that's not... All right. Anyways, like, these motherfuckers. So when this was said, though, I was like, do any of you interested in, this is the net worth of senators in the right now. This isn't like even when Biden was around. Fucking hell. Yes, Mrs. Biden had an income too. This is true. And again, their house payments were gone, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Rick Scott is worth $259 million. Mark Warner from Virginia is worth 214. These are the top two. Greg Gianforte from Montana, $189 million net worth. And that goes a long fucking way in Montana. Paul Mitchell from Michigan, who most of us don't even fucking know. By the way, in the top 10, this is House. Is this just Congress? Don't tell me this is. Okay. This is Congress. This is House and Senate. So these are just by fucking, like, everybody. So this is in the House and the Senate. Okay. In the top 10 of the richest people, 4 are Democrats and 6 are Republican. And the Republicans, there are only 2, Nancy Pelosi specifically and Rick Scott, and largely Nancy Pelosi's net worth because of her husband, and her accumulating wealth over time. She's like, when you're Speaker of the House, you don't even have any fucking bills. It's silly. So, but there are only 2 that crack the 100 million net worth that are Democrats. The rest are Republicans. There's Dianne Feinstein at 87. There's Susan DelBene of Washington. She's a House member at 79. Fred Upton. Ron Johnson's worth $78 million in Wisconsin. What the ever-loving fuck is... All right. Roger Williams, Texas House member, has almost as much money at 67. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let me explain something to you. This is in the top 50, the lowest one is Lisa Blunt Rochester from Delaware. She's worth $10 million. Joe Biden, who is currently the president of the United States, is worth $8 million. Mainly because he bought a house in Delaware in 1972 or whenever the fuck it was for $119,000 and stayed in it and fixed it up. And that until after he was fucking vice president of the United States. And by the way, the fact that there are this many rich people doing this and blah, 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 or that they have money, depending on how long they've been there. Some were rich before they got in, like Rick Scott, who's a fucking crook on so many levels. Others, like, again, they live without bills for so long, essentially, that they have trusts and they do index funds. And seriously, if you're in office for long enough and you have a blind index fund, one of the things that an index fund or a blind trust helps you do is not fuck around with your stocks. You can just go, I'm buying an index fund aligned with the United Auto Workers because I like them. but I'm, whatever their pension puts shit in, that's what I put my shit in, and I'm not touching it. And an index fund would do way better in some cases. You guys know the story about how, like, Donald Trump, somebody did the math, and it turns out that if Donald Trump had just taken what his dad had given him and just put it in, taking the money from it, put it in an index fund to track the stock market, he would be 3 times as wealthy in cash as he actually is, just because of it just grows over time. If he just not drawn money out of his real estate and just left it the fuck alone and not tried to do, finances idiocy like Taj Mahal and other shit, he would have, instead of having, he'd have cash, right? He'd be rich, for real, instead of this like faux rich bullshit. And Andrea, I don't do, like, in the afternoon show, it's hard to do guests, but because of the nature of it, I would have to build a whole new screen for that. So I'm sticking morning people, guest to morning show. I hope that's okay for the time being, until I figure out that part where I can time out stopping and starting the clips and everybody sees the same thing. I can't feed them the audio. So just, that's a heads up. A little behind the scenes business. Anyway, so, and I love you guys. Hi, chat room. Thank you, by the way. Hello. So the idea that somehow, oh my God, it's so fucking suspect. It's so sus, guys. Guys, it's so, my God, sus. It's such a sus thing. Because who has $8 million? Where did all this money come from? Motherfucker, can you imagine? Just crack the edges of Rick Scott's wealth. Get the living fuck out of here. We've got 50 members of Congress who are worth $10 million or more, and you think that the vice president, who only became that rich based on his real estate and the fact that he sold a book, and with that book proceeds, he bought the lake house, and the lake house is just like real estate. You just put the money in the real estate, that he's a better real estate investor than Trump ever was. So I just find it fucking goofy. Tell me why, if you're going to go through like, holy shit, this is just, I can't believe the vice president of the United States sold a book for $20 million. He had like a $20 million book deal or something based on predicated sales and all that shit. Ultimately, and then gave speeches for $100,000 a piece or some shit like that, whatever that was, after he was vice president and effectively retired in 2017, 18, 19, that's exactly where the money, it's in his fucking taxes. His taxes are out. This is just silly. And by the way, the Pelosi insider trading thing, I'd like to address for a second. Now, without any evidence that she's actually engaged in insider trading, the reality is that if you are in San Francisco and you represent San Francisco, or you represent the general district around there, or you're anywhere fucking near Cupertino, the reality is you're going to see where they're spending their money in your district. Where those people from whatever the apps, when Snapchat started throwing fucking money at everything, and they ended up buying up half of Venice and Los Angeles and moving down here. When you're in your district, you're watching that. It doesn't take fucking brains, just like anybody else in the district, to go, oh, if I keep seeing that guy, what company, who is he? Oh, that's the guy from the thing. All right, well, shit, they're doing all right. It's the exact same thing. Twitch just got dumped. Are we not in Twitch? Yeah, they're all right. So anyways, I gacked up my shoulder. It's still bothering me, but I'll be all right. So the idea that, oh my God, we discovered so much discovery, and it's discovery. Then, oh my God, the money. Like, come on, fuck off. So, one of the things that came up was, and I recognize it. Hi. Was, let's see if I can go to this screen. The title of this one is Revealed, FBI Agent Rebuts Jim Jordan's Whistleblower Biden Claims. Now, again, all right. The IRS whistleblowers, the reason those guys were told to stand down and fuck off was because they were trying to use stuff from the laptop in ongoing investigations in the IRS. And if they had, those investigations would not actually go forward. They would fail in court. If you try to bring in the laptop shit, any judge will throw it out. If you go in there with the laptop shit and the other stuff, and you found the stuff that you brought in because you looked at the laptop, the judge will throw it out. And so in the case of the IRS, the evidence that they actually had that Hunter Biden hadn't paid his taxes, or that he fucking, the gun charge nonsense, which he writes about in his fucking autobiography, that if you bring up that shit and you go, oh, how'd you find out that he dropped a gun in the fucking dumpster or whatever? Oh, well, we read it on an email on the laptop. All right, through the poison tree, fucking throw it out. But because they were like, he talks about it in his, in his autobiography, so he interviewed the Secret Service. You go, okay, that's fair. That stays in. But if his defense team can go, Your Honor, that's bullshit. They found out about it because of these stupid fake emails, and we want all that excluded. They go, okay, and that's that, because these people are stupid. There's like especially the whistleblowers, which aren't whistleblowers at all in the classical sense. It's stupid. They were like, their main complaint, it seems, the whistleblowers from the IRS, is that our bosses wouldn't let us fuck up the case. Yeah, I'm seriously defending Hunter. And I'm defending Hunter because it's the same as defending you. Somebody in the chat room is like, you're defending Hunter? First of all, let's start. Yeah, by the way, welcome trolls. You're welcome here. First of all, a criminal defense attorney, for example, does not defend their criminal defendant. They defend our legal system. And if they do a half-assed job at their defense, there's a very strong chance that somebody guilty will go free because they'll do it, they'll appeal with another attorney going, I didn't get quality representation the first time around. It's why you want the most awful people who are being charged with shit to have the best representation they can. Not because you want them to go free, but because they will go free if they can argue that I had half-ass representation and the whole thing, the court case has to be thrown out and we need to try it again, and they get good representation on that and then exclude a shit ton of evidence, and then they never get tried for real. Like, I don't know why you want that. Secondly, who in the chat room, trolls especially, if we got some maggots and they can explain, explain this to me. Do you want a legal system where fabricated evidence, digital evidence with no metadata, no tracking metadata, no data that says this is definitely from this account that was released on this day and that ended up in here because it went through this server and ended up there, that you want that to be the standard for digital evidence going forward? Because if you do, we are all fucked. If that's the standard, no one is safe. Because not only can you bring in like a photocopy of an email and pretend it's real, and the other person has to either, like, you could force a violation of someone's Fifth Amendment rights if you could just fabricate emails, hold them up and go, see this printout, Your Honor, this is a real email. And the defense goes, where the fuck did you get that? And they go, doesn't matter. Look at that. See, it's got his email address on it, doesn't it? That's it. And you have to go, that's not real. And they go, well, prove it. So you have to prove the negative about your documents, which means you have to give the government and the prosecutor in any particular state access to all of your emails to prove that it's either among those emails or it isn't. Are you fucking kidding me? Can you imagine a situation where anyone is safe in that situation from prosecutorial misconduct? Metadata or it didn't happen. If you can't track the source of emails, documents, videos, and pictures that are supposedly from hard drive contents as a way of getting a forensics expert to go, yep, here's the metadata from this. I checked it out. It came from this server. It was sent on this day, and it arrived on this day, and it has not been modified. If that's no longer a standard, and like Rudy Giuliani can just roll in with a fucking printed picture of text messages that you allegedly wrote to Ted Bundy's cousin who wants to help you go on a murder spree. All of a sudden, you're like, what? I didn't write that shit. Yes, you did. Your Honor, look at this. Read it yourself. I mean, it's literally, it's like a ringing the dinner bell for prosecutors to just forge you into jail, or your enemies in civil court or in court themselves. If somebody wanted to accuse you of something and get you put away because you're their competition or because they got a fucking hard on for you, they could actually just make up shit. They could just print a hard drive full of stuff. And by the way, with ChatGPT and all the available elements, how long do you think it would take? And by the way, and you don't think for a second that, like, since ChatGPT started, that there wasn't variations of like autofill chatbots that couldn't create this shit a couple of years ago, do you? But primarily now, how long do you think it would take to fill up a hard drive's worth of shit with no metadata, just completely created by artificial intelligence at this point, as it gets better and better and better? Oh, thank you so much, Randy Elena. Are you, honest to God, are you that fucking deluded to think that it's strange that Joe Biden's worth $8 million after being vice president and selling a book and basically having no bills for a decade because he was the vice president and the fucking Secret Service had to follow him everywhere, and he hasn't bought a plane ticket in fucking 15 years or some shit. Yeah, beyond the fact that he was a senator, because he didn't make any. He was the poorest senator when he was in there. He only made the money after. And again, this also points to the lie that they're talking about. So back to where we were. I will defend Hunter Biden to the extent that he was an addict and he's recovering. Not that he wasn't a dick while he was an addict, or not that he wasn't like a sloppy hanger-on trying to justify his existence, especially around when Bo died, because he was clearly the shit son compared to Bo. And there's a lot of personal shit going on there. That you could set that aside. It's none of my goddamn business, and I don't care, honestly. But I do know that, like, the dude, if you, again, I've said this before, trolls, answer me this other question. Gun to your head, you have your entire net worth. You have all of it sit in front of you. Every dime you have, your kid's college fund, every investment you've ever made has been, is sitting in a pile of money. And you have only one choice. Do you invest your money in Burisma before Hunter Biden shows up or after? That's the only choice. When do you put your money in? When do you put your money in? Do you put money into Burisma before Hunter Biden shows up, or do you put it in after Hunter Biden and Devin Archer and Rosemont Seneca work there? When? Don't hedge. Don't give me any bullshit. You have to put the money in. This is only it. That's it. It's a choice between two things. It's a choice deciding one, A or B. It's not two choices. You have two available choices, but you have one choice to make. Right? Which one? Before or after? I'll give you a hint. If you say before, you're a fucking idiot who will have lost all your money and paid for the Russian war machine. If you say after, you would be making a profit. Because it's a functioning company right now. Because the process of going from corrupt to not corrupt was part of the reason why he was there. And it worked. Okay, so this story. FBI agent rebuts Jim Jordan's whistleblower Biden. Okay, this is the Post is reporting Tuesday afternoon that two IRS employees attempted to claim legal whistleblower status, testified before the House Judiciary. You remember these guys, Shapley and all that. And they said that Weiss blocked the IRS investigation into Hunter Biden and his taxes. The president's son was an addict, blah, blah, blah. Shapley testified that Weiss told FBI and IRS agents during a meeting that Weiss was, quote, not a, quote, deciding official on whether charges are filed. Thomas Sobocinski, special agent in charge of the FBI's Baltimore field office, who was also at the meeting, said he never heard Weiss say that. In fact, it was his understanding that Weiss never needed approval to bring charges. I went into that meeting believing he had the authority, and I left that meeting believing he had the authority to bring charges. The problem that he had was that the FBI whistleblowers were in that meeting, and those motherfuckers were so adamant about getting this big guy language into the indictment, into the charges, bringing felonies based on the fake laptop shit, that it would have screwed the entire case, because all three of them, including the alleged gay Democrat, are fucking morons. They are stupid people. And I'll tell you how stupid they are in a way that I think even maggots can appreciate. The IRS, under one of the guys who'd done the most cases, primarily focused those teams on people who had been engaged in tax fraud in the billions of dollars, sometimes in the tens of billions of dollars. And that's what they really focused on. That was their whole goal. And these motherfuckers wanted to put the billions of dollars on hold to go after somebody that a lower level group of IRS agents had already just made a standard audit recognition that there was $2 million that hadn't been paid. $1 million with an M. All that math was done. None of it turned out to be fucking anything else. And there isn't $250 million sitting somewhere. There's not $500 million sitting somewhere. There's certainly not a fucking $1 billion sitting anywhere, except maybe in fucking Trump's fantasy of his own net worth. But you're telling me the smart move is to spend all those resources, 5 fucking years of resources, on a guy who's dodging $2 million worth of taxes, in this case, that had already been calculated, that in a standard audit would have been recognized. Like, they didn't even have to hide this shit. It didn't take an international team. He had listed the amount of money he had made in a couple of places. That's how they found it. That was it. He turned over the laptop that the IRS has is the one he gave them. It wasn't the one found somewhere. Oftentimes the IRS whistleblowers will reference a laptop and people think it's the same fucking laptop. It ain't. Anyways, so this, he says he's still working on the case, but the GOP's publicity of the case means that some of the agents involved have been identified and their families have been exposed and their safety is compromised. And this is one of the reasons why they can't get their work done, is because everybody, these fuckers, on the right, think they're all fibbies. The IRS agents or the federal are like against Donald Trump. It's the only thing they do. It's just like they're just going after. They're not really going after it. Which is ironic because that's exactly what Shokin was doing. Shokin was halting investigations into Burisma, was on the take, and they had him on a short leash. And they were afraid if he got replaced, the next guy would either ask for more money or actually investigate them, which is what happened. He actually investigated them, and Shokin had to flee the fucking country. And he's gone. Nobody knows where he is. So the other thing is, let me say this. All right, Putin. So a couple things this morning, and then I'm going to fuck off and rest. And I agree, best chat ever. You guys are wonderful. By the way, share the show, like, subscribe, thumbs up, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff I'm supposed to say that I always forget to say. And thank you guys for supporting the new computer fund with Venmo. And eventually, with your support, we'll have a green screen that goes past the length of my arm. So, Putin laid out some his conditions for what he needs before he will speak, peace negotiation can happen. Here you go. He emphasized the first step must be taken by the Kiev government, which needs to lift its legislative ban on negotiation. Kiev officials should also state that they are ready for it. That's it, and then we'll see. So they've got to rescind their thing, which is, by the way, after 5 times trying to negotiate the Russians to get the fuck out of their country. And each time, not only have the Russians, used that to buy time to reload and fire again, but in a couple instances, they have fucking poisoned people there, or they've had spies inserted on the other side. Shut The fuck up. New computer fund 10K. 7 is the baseline. 7 is the base model. That's without extra cards and shit for video things. It's a very video intensive thing. That's why I have a Halo. So one of the other reasons, if you need to know, I need a blue screen. Yeah, because I have a gold. Well, I like the Hulk glow right now. It's kind of impressive. I'll fix it later. I just changed it so you guys could see my Metallica shirt the other day. All right. Here's his other conditions. During the same forum, he addressed questions about Russia's willingness to halt military actions. He explained that stopping hostilities is not a straightforward matter, especially when facing a counteroffensive from the other side. Fucking counter. Hey, asshat, notice the word counter in the offensive. They're facing an offensive from you. They have for 9 fucking years. Russia has been on the offensive in Ukraine since 2014. On the a counteroffensive, what facing a counter? Are you think about the? I can't with the You don't reckon you don't even hear what you're fucking saying. It's this whole counteroffensive thing. I don't know. Maybe stop the offensive, and the counteroffensive won't fucking need to happen. Crazy. So, like that, I found that particularly fucking rich. He goes, they will, what are we supposed to do? They will counterattack and we will say, and we are standing down. No. For the record, no one expects you to stand down in the face of the counterattack except where your guys surrender. We're expecting you to lose soon. Got news for you. Counteroffensive is working. They're going to break the land bridge in the next 8 weeks. The Russian president also criticized the approach of mediators who've been asking if Russia is ready to cease hostilities. Fucking mediators, right? It's those goddamn peacekeepers. He dismissed the notion that movement without a final goal is beneficial, stating, "We are not Trotskyists. Movement is everything. The final goal is nothing." That's a bad theory. So basically, he's only going to negotiate if you already decide that what the Russians want has to be agreed to before you even start negotiating. The fuck? Get out. That in and of itself is stupid. Movement is everything. The final goal is nothing is what the try. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Get the fuck out. That's a piece of movement for you. But the final goal is get the fuck out. Trade with Ukraine and the surrounding areas. Don't invade them. Get the fuck out of Georgia while you're at it. And leave Chechnya the fuck alone. And you know what? Stop puppet running Syria for Assad. Let those people work their shit out. Oh, God. So stupid. Anyway, so that was the whole thing. Meanwhile, for all the Russia's economy is fantastic. The sanctions are only helping. That crowd. Who I love those folks. I love that. I love them almost as much as I love the China's gonna eat our lunch. Those people. Oh yes, and get the fuck out of Africa too. Totally. Wagner out. The fuck. I both want to say go look up what the Wagner guys did in Somalia, and don't go look up what the Wagner guys in Somalia because it will make you sick. Vladimir Putin says inflation in Russia is making it practically impossible for businesses to plan. Inflation in Russia makes it nearly impossible for businesses in the country to plan. Russia's inflation has accelerated 5.15% year per year in August, well above the 4% target. Boo fuckity hoo. It's also fake because their currency isn't worth shit. So their currency has been going down in value while the inflation goes up. And so this is even a fake number. Still, Putin brushed off longer-term concerns about the Russian economy and added problems were not insurmountable. Right. The Kadyrov doc. Well, we need to do a deep dive on all that shit. I might have to. You know what? Since I'm going to cut the show short today, Boston Brian, if you're available tomorrow, I'll do another morning show. And we'll get into some of that. But the reality is that if you're the new Wagner secondary head, or you're part of the like the Chechenian war machine and those guys and the Kadyrov fighters or whatever, I wouldn't drink anything that you didn't crack the seal on yourself. Yeah. So I look like Gene Simmons, do I? That's good. I mean, it'd be nice to have the height, and I can stick out my tongue and touch my nose. So I just the president spoke on Russia's Eastern Economic Forum on Tuesday, touching on the economic problems that the nation is currently facing. By the way, the Eastern Economic Forum, there's only the West. There's fucking St. Petersburg and Moscow. There's kind of Sochi, but that's the whole fucking country. The rest of Russia is fucking permafrost, and the Chinese can't wait to steal it. More Thulsa Doom. I made you, boy. So yeah, I found that particularly funny. Their economy is fucked. All right, then this other one. Okay, this was fun. Judge issues protective order on classified evidence in Trump documents case. This is from Reuters, but it's being, Eileen Cannon has issued a protective order governing classified evidence in the case involving former U.S. President Donald Trump's handling of classified documents. The order requires Trump and his lawyers to review and discuss all classified evidence in a so-called sensitive compartmented information facility, or SCIF. Trump previously opposed the condition, saying that he should be able to review the troves of secret documents at Mar-a-Lago. Asshole! Oh, fucking idiot. That's what the whole case is about. You shouldn't have had it at Mar-a-Lago in the first place. You don't get to fucking take it to Mar-a-Lago. Oh, God. Shit, this is so dumb. Hey, dipshit. That's why you're in danger of going to jail, is having it at Mar-a-Lago in the first place. You're not going to get permission to have it there now. But I've got a lock on the shitter. Fucking, it's just gorgeous. It's just, whew. So I find that funny. That's all. It's just a minor story. The other thing is his suit against states starting to kick him to the curb, and using the 14th Amendment to deny him a spot on the ballot. Between involved in a rebellion or insurrection, which he absolutely said, we're going to walk down there peacefully and patriotically, but when we get there, we're going to have to fight, or we're not going to have a country anymore, which means mind your manners until you get there. It's effectively don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes language. Let's just be honest. Don't attack anything until you arrive at the building we're trying to attack. Don't beat up the trees or tear up the grass or shit in the fucking, the reflecting pool. And the other thing is aid and comfort. You're beautiful. We love you. You'll remember this day forever. That's aid and comfort. If I get back in there, I will pardon everybody involved. Aid and fucking comfort. He qualifies on so many fronts, and he keeps doing it. Not even based on his activity on the day. Shit he did after is providing aid and comfort. After the Revolutionary War, if you hid British soldiers in your home and allowed them to escape because they were going to be taken as prisoners of war, and you let them sneak out, aid and comfort. During the Confederacy, if you hid some Confederate soldiers in your place until the Union troops passed and then you let them go, aid and fucking comfort. Same shit. Excellent. Thanks, CSL. Love you. So he's still giving aid and comfort. He's still promising aid and comfort to the insurrectionists, who, by the way, at the same time, and I don't fucking understand this at all, the maggots are still saying the crowd is full of feds and it never would have happened if the feds hadn't made everybody do it. Meanwhile, what is Trump pardoning the feds that got caught? It's either you and your people and they're being, mishandled and mischarged and it's prosecutorial attacks and misconduct, or it's a bunch of fucking insiders and it was all ginned up and they were just following orders they thought were real from like feds hidden in the Proud Boys. Make that fucking case, dummy, because you're going to lose in court. Well, they have multiple times. They've brought this up. They've tried to do this. And you're like, yeah, my client, a guy came up to him and said, cool out, dude. There are cops just doing their job. And so I, of course, took that as a sign that we were on the attack, and I started punching cops. Because what was I supposed to do? That was the code that we'd agreed on the QAnon forum, that anybody who tells you to stop means you to go. I mean, honestly, the entire political machination of the insurrection, as you know, our mission statement was just like Donald Trump's relationships. No means yes. He basically said, do unto others as I would do unto E. Jean Carroll. It's, oh God. Anyways, it's very possible that he'll get kicked off. And he should be. Because not only did he give aid and comfort to an insurrection, but he still plans on doing it. Yes, he sold pardons to people who were involved in insurrections in other countries. Ugh, just a pig. If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to bow out and go get some rest and rest my voice because it's a little hot right now. And I don't want to be too leathery for later on, if that's okay. I'm going to have a bit of a short morning show. Enjoy your day. I adore you. And then we will get into the deeper reads of this later on because I have a shit ton of clips. And a lot of stuff to kind of make up for in some of that, including possibly, if we can find it, can't stop lying, the question and answer part of the maggot press conference yesterday about the impeachment inquiry. I would love to do it. Yes, and my neck hurts. This is true. So I'm going to go ice my neck as well. I adore you guys. Thank you guys for showing up, and I'm sorry I can't do a full show, but it's so I can do more shows. And Phil can't be here, so we couldn't do the second hour anyways. So much love. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And I gotta go get a nap. I got to my house at 5:40 a.m. Just saying. Thanks, Kathleen. Thank you, guys. See you later on today. Sorry I couldn't do a full show.